If you're still single, congratulations. You've been unconsciously protecting something most people trade away for companionship. And once you understand what it is, you'll never see loneliness the same way again. Here's what I mean. Every person who stayed in a relationship that diminished them, who tolerated disrespect, who changed core parts of themselves to keep someone interested, they all did it because they feared being alone more than they valued their own dignity. You haven't made that trade yet. That's not a failure. That's self-preservation. Let me tell you about someone I'll call Marcus. Successful career, good-looking, socially capable. But at 34, he was still single, and it was eating at him. Everyone around him was coupled up. Family asking questions. Friends making jokes. So when he met Sarah, he ignored every red flag. The way she criticized his hobbies. How she'd pick fights, then give silent treatment for days. The fact that he felt smaller around her, not larger. Within 6 months, Marcus had stopped seeing his friends without asking permission. He deleted Instagram because she didn't trust him. He was explaining his every move, defending his every choice. One night, sitting in his apartment waiting for a text back, he had a thought that terrified him. I've become someone I don't recognize. And I did it willingly just to not be alone. He's not unique. This is the pattern. And you've been protected from it. What protected Marcus, and what's been protecting you, isn't luck or timing. It's an unconscious boundary system based on 3 principles. I'm going to break down all 3, show you how they've been working in your life without you realizing it, and then explain why recognizing them consciously changes everything. There's a philosophy concept from Kant. Don't worry, I'll make this practical, called treating people as ends in themselves, never merely as means. Basically, never use people as tools for your own goals, and never let yourself be used as a tool for theirs. Most people violate this constantly in dating. They perform, they strategize, they mold themselves into what they think the other person wants, not out of genuine compatibility, but out of fear of losing the opportunity. But something in you has resisted this. You've walked away from situations where you'd have to perform, pretend, or diminish yourself. Not because you're picky, because you unconsciously refuse to treat yourself as a means to the end of not being alone. Think back to someone you were interested in who didn't work out. I'll bet you can identify a moment where continuing would have required you to betray something core about yourself, your honesty, your boundaries, your values. And you didn't do it. That wasn't weakness. That was your dignity filter working. Now here's what nobody tells you about this filter. It protects you, but it also isolates you if you don't understand it consciously. Let me explain. Here's the trap most people fall into. They meet someone, feel chemistry, and immediately start outsourcing their decision-making. Should I take this job? Let me ask them first. Should I visit my family? What do they think? Should I pursue this goal? Will they support it? Within months, they've handed over their internal compass. They've made another person the arbiter of their choices. And once you do that, you're no longer living your own life. You're living a negotiated compromise. What you've been protecting, again, probably without realizing it, is your ability to self-govern, to make choices based on your own rational assessment, not someone else's emotional management. Every time you stayed single instead of entering a relationship where you'd constantly have to justify, explain, or defend your decisions, you were protecting your autonomy. This is why you might feel relief after relationships end, even when you wanted them to work. The relationship cost you the ability to act freely. And some part of you kept calculating, is this person worth surrendering my self-direction for? Most people never ask that question. You've been asking it unconsciously all along. Most people enter relationships to escape something, boredom, anxiety, existential questions about their purpose. They use the other person as a distraction from the work they're avoiding. Then the relationship ends, and they're back where they started, unclear about who they are, what they want, what they're building toward. Except now, they've lost years. You haven't done this. You've stayed with the discomfort. You've sat with the questions. Who am I when no one's watching? What do I actually want? What life am I building? These are uncomfortable questions. Most people avoid them by staying busy with someone else's presence. Kant had this idea that moral maturity requires confronting yourself honestly, Not as you wish you were, but as you actually are. And you can't do that if you're constantly performing for someone else or managing their perception of you. Being alone has forced you into self-knowledge. And that's rare. This is why when you do meet someone compatible, you'll be able to show up as a complete person, not someone looking to be completed. You won't need them to validate you, distract you, or fix you. That's the relationship most people never get to have because they never did the work of being alone first. So here's what's actually been happening. Your solitude has been protecting your dignity, preserving your autonomy, and forcing you into self-knowledge. But, and this is critical, if you don't recognize these principles consciously, they become prison walls instead of guardrails. You can become so protective of your dignity that you reject imperfect people who are still worthy. So defensive of your autonomy that you can't collaborate or compromise. So comfortable alone that you avoid the vulnerability real connection requires. The goal isn't to stay alone forever. It's to understand that your aloneness has taught you what most people never learn, what you're not willing to trade away. And once you know that, you can actually choose partnership from strength, not desperation. If this reframed how you see being single, let me know in the comments. I go through all of them. And if you want to follow up to this, I'm breaking down exactly how to recognize when someone is actually worth compromising for versus when you're just being manipulated into thinking they are. That's next. I'll see you then.